Hello, my dear students. Welcome to my today's class, my dear students of honors third year. I think all of you are safe and sound and staying at home still now. This is Shongita Sarkar, lecturer, Department of English, Government BM College, Borishal. Today, I welcome you all to attend my class. Today's topics, I have started a lecture on these topics, that is psycholinguistics, and this is my third lecture on these topics. From these topics you have to read out or you have to memorize these questions, and I have provided 5 broad questions here. In my last class I have discussed on brief questions, and today I will touch on these broad questions, and in my today's lecture I will discuss on these 2 questions here. What are the major stages of child language acquisition, and what is behaviorist theory? What are the shortcomings of behaviorism? At first, we should know the stages of child language acquisition. Language development begins from the very first day after birth. By the age of 5, the child knows most of the system of language, and it continues even after the age of 5. Research indicates babies listen to their mother's voice during the last few months of pregnancy. Every child acquires a language as a native language with equal ease. How does a child learn his or her languages? Well, in such a short time. And what is the course of language learning? Developmental psychologists has attempted to answer these questions over the past 30 years. Languages are acquired in the predictable stages as the behavior develops. They do different in their onset and rate of development, but the chronology seems to remain constant. Acquiring language is learning a game. One must learn the rules of the game. Children also learn to improve and enhance their behavior for a good member of a society. Main stages of child language acquisition. There are 6 stages. Typical age, or the pre-linguistic period, that is from birth, that is month 1 from to 6 months, or it may continue up to 10 months. Babbling stage, 6 to 9 months. Number 3, the holophrastic period or one word stage, that is from 9 months to 18 months. 2 word stage, 18 to 24 months. The telegraphic stage, that is 24 to 30 months, and multi-word stage, that is 30 plus months. That may continue till 5 years or more than that. The pre-linguistic period, birth from 6 months, or it may continue till 10 months. From the moment of birth, a child discriminates speech from other sounds, start discovering phonemes. At the month 1, start crying or producing sounds in order to convey several information. Hunger cry, angry cry, pain cry, cooing starts in response to pleasure. This is a universal stage. 6 months, babbling stage, producing syllables like ba ba ba. 9 to 10 months, start using intonation patterns and also rephrase babble that seems as if they are words. For example, baba, mama, dada, etc. Babbling stage, 6 to 9 months. At the beginning of babbling stage, the child begins to develop the articulatory movements to produce the speech sounds. They produce sounds which are comparatively easier to produce, such as the bilabial sounds like pa, ba, ma, and wa. At first, they only produce sounds without any specific purpose. For example, while playing with a toy, the child would utter ba 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 or da 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 without meaning any specific need. This stage runs up to about 9 months. After this stage, from 9 to 12 months, the child tries to produce purposeful utterances with more control over their vocal organs. Different children from different languages show similarities in pronouncing similar sound. The holophrastic period or one-word stage, that is from 9 to 18 months. 12 months, at the 12 months, single word phrase stage. Communication done with single words in order to convey complex message. For example, a word tada could mean I want my teddy, here is my teddy, or where is my teddy. Naming person, object and places like cookie, dog, etc. Vocabulary moved to 30 words. Improved pronunciation, said no meaningfully. Start understanding what is being said, like come here, stop it, etc. Two-word stage, that is 18 to 24 months, two-word or mini sentences. In this stage, the child produce some mini sentences. The telegraphic stage, 24 to 30 months, two-word phrase stage. Child uses minimum words to convey meaning of a whole sentence. Lack of function, words in communication, but recites familiar nursery rhymes. 30 months, start acquiring rules of syntax, demonstrating semantic relations with two words. For example, semantic relations examples, agent plus action, that is mama sit. Agent object, papa car. Action plus object, eat mango. Action plus location, go park. Object plus location, teddy plus 4. Children begin to produce longer and more complex structure, but the sentences still lack grammatical or functional accuracy. Multi-word stage, that is 30 plus months. That is begins from 3 years to 5 years. By 5 years it may. Acquisition becomes slow, but vocabulary continues to grow. Developing morphology. Start using functional words. Overgeneralization of rows the child applies to the words like foods or mans. Developing syntax. Start forming complex sentences. The stage may be called the complex stage also. Forming WH questions like what, where, who, when, etc. Forming negative sentences, for example, I was not eating pizza. Developing semantics. Overextend the meaning of a word on the basis of shape and size. For example, use ball to refer all round things like an apple, an egg, or a grape. Children continue acquiring complex grammatical or adult linguistic competence in this stage. And the conclusion of this question is, there is no clear-cut answer as to how language acquisition takes place. Language acquisition tend to run parallel to the physical development, though there is no correlation between these two. Generally, babbling occurs around the time when baby begin to sit up. They utter single word just before they start to walk. Grammar becomes complex when hands and fingers coordination develops. This is another question, and from this question, at first we should know what is behaviorism. Behaviorism is a learning theory that studies observable and measurable behavioral changes which result from stimulus response associations made by the learner. Behaviorism is widely used to refer to the philosophy of a science of behavior. There are various forms of behaviorism. Behaviorist theory. Behaviorism is a systematic approach to understanding the behavior of humans and other animals. It assumes that behavior is either a reflex evoked by the pairing of certain antecedent stimuli in the environment or a consequence of that individual's history. Although behaviorists generally accept the important role of heredity in determining behavior, they focus primarily on environmental events. Limitations of behaviorism. There has been much criticism of behaviorism, especially when it comes to its disregard for mental processes, moods, social dimensions, and human emotions. Moreover, behaviorism fails to explain the kinds of learning that take place without reinforcement and punishment. For example, language acquisition in children. Another criticism of behaviorism is that it fails to explain all aspects of human behavior and that it doesn't account for individuality and free will. Criticism of behaviorism. Many critics argue that behaviorism is a one-dimensional approach. To understand human behavior, and that behavioral theories do not account for free will and internal influences such as moods, thoughts, and feelings. Behaviorism tends to be superficial or shallow in explaining behavior and learning. It only considers what is observable and measurable. Well, in fact, there are various unseen aspects of an individual that are very vital in his or her personalities and learning capabilities. Behaviorism does not account for other type of learning, especially learning that occurs without the use of reinforcement and punishment, as can be inferred from the theory presented. Much of human behavior and learning abilities were attributed to the effects of external factors that serve as reinforcers or punishers. People and animals are able to adapt their behavior when new information is introduced, even if a previous behavior pattern has been established through reinforcement. It only says that regardless of what behavior an individual learned in the past through the system of reinforcement, he can still be able to modify and or change it when new circumstances offer new information. I believe that this is true as we also have the process of extinction. As we continue to live, we will encounter many more opportunities for learning. Actually, this is a criticism from a critic. Disadvantage or shortcomings. It ignores the mental processes that are involved in learning, unlike the cognitive approach, who views these processes as important. According to the behaviorist approach, people can only learn as a result of their experiences. The use of animals in applying the laws of learning to humans has been criticized as humans are more complex than animals. This is the shortcomings. The principle of operant and classical conditioning do not account for spontaneous behavior in humans. It rejects the possible role of biological factors in human behavior. Unlike the biological approach, which considers nature an important factor, behaviorists view humans as passive learners. Unlike humanistic psychologists who view humans as active agents, able to control and determine their own development. So these are the shortcomings. So in my today's lecture, I have discussed here two broad questions, and I think if you try to understood the main idea of the questions and then you should go through the answer, or you should memorize this question, then that will be very effective for you. Otherwise it will not be possible to understood all of the things or to memorize all of these things. So in my today's lecture, I have provided these two questions answers, that is major stages of child language acquisition and behaviorism, what is behaviorism or what is behaviorist theory, and the shortcomings of behaviorism. So you should prepare yourself to understood these questions answer. So that's all about my today's lecture. Thanks for watching. Stay at home and stay safe.